What's up, meatbags? I am the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD coming at you with another video. This time we're going to be talking about pro wrestling on the Nintendo Entertainment System, specifically the character of King Slender. Now, as you know, I'm a huge wrestling fan, huge video game fan, so this game, Pro Wrestling, was a huge part of my childhood. Played it for hours, loved it. Lots of fights over who was a better gamer at this between me, myself, my dad, and my brother. But as you can see, King Slender has always kind of bugged me a little because, as you can see from the page here on the Pro Wrestling Characters wiki, they say he's modeled after Ric Flair. And at first glance, you might say that this is accurate. I mean, he's blonde, he's from the U.S., he's presumably the VWA champion. But I started looking into it and I started thinking about it, and it just didn't add up. First off, Ric Flair has never used the backbreaker as his finisher. If we go over to Ric Flair's page on Wikipedia, we can see that he was billed as being 6'1", and he was billed as weighing only 243. Now, King Slender here is supposed to be 6'5" and 280. He was in the manual called the Cold-Blooded Warrior Jr. And I believe he's supposed to be a heavyweight, strong, powerful type of wrestler rather than a slim, technical style like Ric Flair. Now, if we go at the pro wrestling page on Wikipedia, we can see that the game was released in Japan in 1986, and it didn't come to America until 1987. Now, Ric Flair was the NWA champion for most of 1986, for about a 2-month period, maybe 2 weeks, 2 months, something like that. He had lost the belt to Dusty Rhodes, but for the most part, he was champion during the 1986 year. However, he never wrestled in Japan in 1986. As you can see from CageMatch.com, the internet wrestling database, if we look at Ric Flair going by all of his All Japan Pro Wrestling matches, you can see in 1985 he had some matches, and in 1987 he had some matches, but he didn't wrestle anywhere in All Japan in 1986. Now, why is this important? Well, if you go to the Japanese pro wrestling page, it has a little bit of an extra. See, it talks about the development, and Masato Masuda was one of the only people working on it. One of two people was him and a graphic designer. Now, it says here that Masuda was mainly watching All Japan Wrestling at the time and was impacted by watching the match between Giant Baba and Abdullah the Butcher. Now, Abdullah the Butcher uses a fork as his foreign object of choice, which is probably why the Amazon uses a fork when he does his illegal headbutt or chokehold or what the hell it's called. See, this is important though because he was watching All Japan. You see, somebody in 1986, at the very beginning of 1986, debuted in All Japan Wrestling, and eventually he would be pushed as somebody who was going to be the next Hulk Hogan in the WWF. That man was this man right here, Tom McGee. Now, you might not recognize the name, you might not know who the hell this is, but Tom McGee, the Mega Man, was pushed very highly by Vince McMahon as to be the next Hulk Hogan. He had a dark match with Bret Hart that apparently was so great that Vince McMahon pretty much called him the next champion. He walked up to Tom McGee, said, "You're the next WWF champion." Eventually, we would find out that it was Bret Hart carrying McGee to a good match and not actually Tom being able to actually have good matches, but that's beside the point. You see, if you go to CageMatch.com again, as you can see, in 1986, Riki Choshu defeated Tom McGee at the New Year's All Japan Wrestling New Year Wars Super Battle TV show at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, Japan. That was his first match in All Japan Wrestling. He was in the main event. He would then go on to have several more matches where he defeated all of his opponents. He had one loss in 1986 in All Japan Wrestling. Now, if we go to the overview page for Tom McGee, you can see that his signature move, so let's highlight that here, signature move, Canadian backbreaker. And as you know, that the finishing move for King Slender here is the backbreaker. As you can see in the little gif here, it's the Canadian backbreaker. So I think, quite possibly, Tom McGee is the basis for King Slender. He's the archetype. He is what influenced the development of the game. Not Ric Flair, not Hulk Hogan. Tom McGee, someone who was supposed to be a huge star in the business, but then fizzled out. Unfortunately, the developer of the game has since passed. We won't be able to ask him. We'll never truly know. But I do believe that the circumstantial evidence at least points to Tom McGee being the true inspiration behind King Slender and not Ric Flair, as so many have presumed over the years. But that's really all I gotta say about that. You know how we do it here. Love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.